On a crisp autumn day in 1958, the Seagram building opens its doors, instantly captivating Park Avenue. This modernist masterpiece, designed by Mies van der Rohe and Philip Johnson, stands as a marvel with its sleek lines and bronze-tinted facade. Crowds gather, their eyes wide with awe, as sunlight reflects off the towering structure, giving it an almost ethereal glow. Its innovative recessed placement, set back from the street, creates a striking plaza that enhances its grandeur. This thoughtful design not only sets a new architectural precedent, but also influences the future of skyscraper construction around the world, emphasizing open space and urban integration. And yet, as people walk by admiring the building's grandeur, few realize the story behind its creation. The Seagram building is the brainchild of the Bronfman family, the multi-billion-dollar old-money Canadian dynasty that started as poor farmers and within just a few short generations became one of North America's wealthiest and most powerful lineages. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we'll tell their insane rags to riches saga, as they first take over the North America alcohol industry with unmatched finesse, before expanding their empire to entertainment, grabbing the reins of power in the music industry, all the way to their controversial connections to cults, Jeffrey Epstein, and international spy organizations, as we describe, the Bronfmans, the secret wealthy family that owns Canada. As of 2024, the Bronfman family of Canada continues to sit pretty atop a mountain of cash, much like their own version of the Canadian Rockies. And their vast wealth originates from the Seagram Company, an alcohol distillery and household name of drinking that you're probably already aware of, that found its footing during America's dry spell, Prohibition. Indeed, this company didn't just survive, it thrived, turning into a global spirits empire that significantly fattened the family's wallet. Now, when the Bronfmans waved goodbye to Seagram, selling it to Vivendi in 2000 for a staggering $34 billion, they didn't just boost their bank accounts, they rocketed into the financial stratosphere. Not content to rest on their laurels, the family diversified faster than a billionaire at a tax advice seminar, branching into real estate, the music industry, and tech, among other industries. And at the helm of this filthy rich empire is Charles Bronfman, the patriarch with a net worth of $2.5 billion as of 2023. But Charles didn't just ride the Seagram wave until its sail. He also dipped his toes into philanthropic waters, co-founding Taglit Birthright Israel. You know, the program that encourages and even pays Jews from across the diaspora to visit to Israel, and splashing cash on cultural and educational causes across Canada, the US, and Israel. Truly, Charles is the philanthropic face that launched 1,000 tax deductions. Then there's Edgar Bronfman Jr., the prodigal son who spun his part of the family fortune into a media and entertainment career. As the former CEO of Warner Music Group from 2004 to 2011, Edgar redefined the music industry as he helped guide music into the streaming era. Under his watch, WMG embraced digital platforms and tweaked its artist relationships, for better or worse, ensuring the music didn't stop when the market shifted. He then orchestrated a graceful exit, selling WMG to Access Industries for a cool $3.3 billion in 2011. Not to be outdone by his elders, Benjamin Bronfman, Edgar Jr.'s son, tuned into his own entrepreneurial and musical gifts. With a net worth of $100 million, Benjamin isn't just sitting on his surname, he's producing hits. His notable creds include co-producing Kanye West's Monster and contributing to the controversial song New Slaves, snagging him a Grammy nod. But the Bronfmans also know a thing or two about luxury. And in 2008, thieves tested this knowledge by targeting the 22,000-square-foot mansion of one Paul and Judy Bronfman. The robbers made off with Stanley Cup rings and a cache of diamonds and gold, just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the hidden wealth of the family legacy. Not every Bronfman, however, has faced such misfortune, and Jeremy Bronfman, Edgar Sr.'s grandson, splurged on a $29 million Santa Monica estate in 2021. But this isn't just any pad. It's a 1920s Spanish colonial-style mansion featuring everything from a bocce court to a secret spa. Hidden from prying eyes, This estate offers privacy, luxury, and a few fountains for good measure. Because when you're a Bronfman, why not? Yet, if we turn back the clock a little more than a century, we would see the Bronfman family little more than struggling farmers as they tried to build a life in the new world. Let's head over to the next chapter to find out how this Canadian rags-to-riches tale began. The first family patriarch, and the one who would set the foundations for the Bronfman dynasty's unfathomable wealth, was one Samuel Bronfman, born in 1889 aboard a ship en route to Canada, emerging from the depths of the then Russian Empire. You see, Samuel and his parents were Jewish refugees escaping the brutal pogroms of Tsarist Russia. These pogroms were violent riots aimed at persecuting Jews, often with the support or indifference of local authorities, and consequently, fleeing this malevolent oppression, the Bronfmans immigrated to Wapella in Saskatchewan's district of Assiniboia before moving to Brandon, Manitoba. Now, the name Bronfman itself is closely associated with Jewish families, particularly of Russian Jewish and Romanian Jewish ancestry, and its actual meaning adds a shot of irony to the entire family history. It derives from the Yiddish word Bronfen, meaning liquor, vodka, or spirits, and is related to the German word Brandwein, which refers to, again ironically, distilled spirits. And the name originally meant the man who made or sold whiskey. Now, Samuel's parents, once prosperous in Tsarist Russia, arrived in Canada with their rabbi and 2 servants, and Yechiel Bronfman, Samuel's father, attempted to recreate his past success, but found tobacco farming incompatible with the harsh Canadian climate. To survive, Yechiel took on work as a labourer for the Canadian Northern Railway before securing a better job in a sawmill. Then, Yechiel and his sons turned to selling firewood and trading frozen whitefish to sustain themselves through the winters. Eventually they moved into trading horses, which led them into the hotel and bar business, and in 1903 the family purchased a hotel. With this, young Samuel, recognizing that alcohol sales were highly profitable, established himself as a liquor distributor. Thus, in 1924, Samuel founded the Distillers Corporation in Montreal, specializing in affordable whiskey. And during Prohibition in Canada, Samuel and his brothers sold mail-order liquor. Furthermore, during this public banning of alcohol use, Samuel cleverly navigated the era's stringent regulations by disguising alcohol sales under medicinal labels. His strategic foresight to stockpile whiskey prior to the repeal of Prohibition in the United States positioned Seagram to swiftly capture the pent-up demand for quality spirits, drastically altering the landscape of the liquor industry. However, it was in 1928 that Samuel's vision led to the acquisition of Joseph E. Seagram and Sons, a move that fortified his company's market position. This acquisition was a prelude to broader expansion, which saw Seagram extend its reach into wines, rums and whiskies, establishing a formidable global footprint. And parallel to Samuel's business exploits, his wife, Sadie Rosner Bronfman, championed philanthropic causes. She played a pivotal role in the Young Women's Hebrew Association in Montreal, enhancing its programs and supporting Jewish women's empowerment. Sadie's efforts extended to founding the Canadian Youth Aliyah and supporting the arts, notably through what became known as the Siegel Center. As time went on, in the 1930s, Samuel's ability to stockpile resources and redefine whiskey from a bootlegged good to a premium product marked a significant evolution in the industry. He introduced rigorous standards for bottling and quality control, fostering a new level of consumer trust and brand loyalty. Then, the era following World War II was marked by strategic growth through acquisitions and diversification. Seagram expanded its portfolio, engaging in collaborations with European liquor brands and entering new markets like rum. This period therefore solidified Seagram's status as a powerhouse in the global beverage industry. Then, a defining moment in Seagram's history, and indeed in modern architecture, was the construction of the Seagram building in New York City in 1958. At a construction cost of $41 million, it was the world's most expensive skyscraper at the time, setting a benchmark for office towers worldwide and leaving an enduring legacy in architecture and urban planning. However, the life of family patriarch, and the living embodiment of their success, exemplified in the Seagrams building, was only just the beginning of this old money dynasty's expansion into massive wealth. Edgar Miles Bronfman Sr. was born on the 20th of June 1929 in Montreal, Quebec, and entered the world as a scion of the by then very prominent Jewish-Canadian Bronfman family. Under the roof of Samuel Bronfman and Saidie Rosner Bronfman, the household vibrated with the rhythms of Jewish tradition. Kosher meals were not merely eaten, they were ceremonies of faith, and weekends echoed with the teachings of their heritage. Yet, Edgar and his younger brother Charles were pupils of two worlds, their weekdays spent in private Anglophone schools, absorbing lessons in chapels and navigating diets alien to their upbringing. His academic pursuits in Canada were rigorous and continued at Williams College in the United States, but the call of home brought him back to Montreal, where he completed a bachelor's degree in commerce at McGill University in 1951. And the Bronfman estate in Westmount, where Edgar grew up, was a fortress of luxury, staffed with a butler, a cook, 3 maids, a laundress, a gardener, a chauffeur, and 2 nannies. Despite this opulence, Edgar recalled a home life marked by a palpable emotional void, a glaring contrast to the material abundance that surrounded him. This juxtaposition of emotional scarcity against the backdrop of financial wealth profoundly shaped his adult life, culminating in a poignant return to his roots and emergence as a pivotal figure in Jewish philanthropy. And Charles Rosner Bronfman, Edgar's younger brother, shared a similar upbringing. Born in June 1931, also in Montreal, his formative years echoed Edgar's, rich in privilege and expectation. Charles's educational path mirrored Edgar's, culminating in a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Political Science from McGill University. Soon, Edgar assumed his destined role in Seagram, the family's distilled beverage empire, becoming its transformative leader, president, treasurer, and CEO from the 1950s through the 1990s. Joining the company in 1951 and quickly taking charge of its U.S. operations in 1953, he initiated a period of aggressive expansion and diversification. Under his stewardship, Seagram not only broadened its product range, but also ventured into wines, champagnes, and cognac, significantly diluting its dependency on whiskey. This strategic diversification was highlighted by the acquisition of Tropicana products in 1988, propelling Seagram into the non-alcoholic beverage market. Moreover, Edgar's vision led to lucrative investments in non-traditional sectors, such as a significant stake in the chemical behemoth DuPont. This venture not only diversified Seagram's portfolio, but also underlined Edgar's capacity to identify and capitalize on opportunities outside the traditional liquor market. During his tenure, Seagram's influence was unmatched in the distilled spirits market in the United States, with 1 in 3 alcoholic beverages consumed in the 1950s being produced by Seagram. Charles, not to be overshadowed, also made substantial contributions to Seagram, joining the company in 1951 and ascending to roles of increasing responsibility. In addition to his corporate achievements, Charles's tenure as chairman of the Montreal Expos brought Major League Baseball to Canadian soil, marking another notable chapter in his diverse career. His business endeavors in Israel, like the expansion of the Supersol grocery chain and the acquisition of Core Industries Limited, further showcased his business prowess and dedication to growth and innovation. However, with great power comes not only great responsibility, but also great scrutiny, and the Bronfman legacy has had much of it over the decades. Despite their monumental philanthropic efforts and prodigious business acumen, the Bronfman family's association with the mega group adds another layer to their story. Founded in 1991 by Charles Bronfman and the recently controversial tycoon Les Wexner, this informal assembly of influential Jewish entrepreneurs included Hollywood director Steven Spielberg and Seagram chairman Edgar Bronfman Sr. Meeting biannually, they discussed philanthropy and Jewish affairs, significantly impacting initiatives like Birthright Israel and the Partnership for Excellence in Jewish Education. But speculation and controversy have always trailed the mega group, particularly due to its alleged ties to intelligence operations. Reports suggest the group maintained contacts with Mossad, potentially influencing US foreign policy in the Middle East. These allegations imply that the megagroup might have served as a covert base for intelligence activities within the United States, though solid evidence remains elusive. And the involvement of Jeffrey Epstein, a financier notorious for his criminal activities related to sex trafficking, further complicates the Bronfman history. Epstein's close association with Les Wexner, a megagroup founder, is particularly troubling. Wexner hired Epstein as his financial manager, granting him significant control over his financial affairs, including essentially gifting Epstein his notorious New York townhouse mansion, and giving power of attorney and a board position at the Wexner Foundation to Epstein. Furthermore, Epstein reportedly used his connections within the megagroup to create a network of high-ranking contacts in business, media, and politics. Epstein's ties to the megagroup have fueled suspicions about his potential involvement in intelligence operations. Yet, the Bronfman legacy is not solely defined by controversy. Charles Bronfman, Samuel's progeny, furthered this benevolent heritage by co-founding Birthright Israel in 1999 alongside Michael Steinhardt. This initiative, aimed at fortifying Jewish identity and continuity, offers young Jewish adults from around the globe a complimentary 10-day sojourn to Israel, strengthening their bonds with their heritage and the Jewish state. Since its inception, Birthright Israel has welcomed over 850,000 participants from 68 countries, fundamentally altering their connection to Jewish culture and Israel. Research indicates that Birthright Israel significantly boosts Jewish identification among youths, cementing its reputation as a pivotal Jewish cultural experience. And Adam Bronfman, standing on the shoulders of his forebears, continues to weave this familial narrative of philanthropy with a focus on Jewish learning and community building. As president of the Samuel Bronfman Foundation, named for his grandfather, Adam champions religious pluralism and Jewish education. His tenure has seen significant expansions in Jewish learning and community outreach programs, particularly through his involvement with Hillel International and the creation of Hillel chapters in places like Santa Barbara and Utah. Further, Adam has actively engaged in the growth of Temple Har Shalom in Park City, Utah, funding its construction and endowing a rabbinical chair in honor of his grandmother, Saidi Rosner Bronfman. His dedication also manifests in his critique of divisive religious policies in Israel, advocating for a more inclusive Jewish practice across various denominations. And yet, the pendulum swing of shadowy connections and public-facing philanthropy in the Bronfman family doesn't stop simply with megagroup or their work with Israel. As we'll see in the next chapter, family members have also been both the victims and the perpetuators of some of the most salacious crimes. In the summer of 1975, a sinister plot enveloped the young heir of the Bronfman legacy. Samuel Bronfman II, just 21 and an heir to the Bronfman fortune, vanished in a dramatic incident that captivated the nation. On August 8th, after a seemingly ordinary dinner at his father's residence in Yorktown Heights, New York, Samuel departed alone in his vehicle. As dawn broke, the Bronfman household was shaken by a chilling phone call. Samuel, with a tremor in his voice, announced his abduction. The perpetrators, Mel Patrick Lynch and Dominic Byrne, were merciless, and they demanded an unprecedented ransom of $4.6 million, threatening to kill Edgar Bronfman Sr. with cyanide-laced bullets if their demands were unmet. Samuel, they claimed, lay buried with a limited air supply, a macabre countdown ticking away. The media seized upon the story, transforming it into a spectacle that drew throngs of reporters and the morbidly curious to the Bronfman estate. Despite the kidnappers' desperate pleas for silence, the public thirst for details only intensified. For days, Edgar Bronfman Sr. dutifully followed their cryptic instructions, navigating from one payphone to another in the vicinity of John F. Kennedy Airport. On August 16th, the crucial exchange occurred. Edgar met one of the criminals in Woodside, Queens, handing over half of the ransom, $2.9 million, while the FBI watched from the shadows. They traced the getaway car to Lynch's apartment in Brooklyn, but chose patience over immediate action. The next day, law enforcement struck. They stormed Lynch's apartment and found Samuel Bronfman, a sight to freeze the blood, bound, gagged, and blindfolded. Lynch and Byrne were promptly arrested, but the trial that followed was a bitter pill. The defense painted Samuel as a willing participant in his own kidnapping. This twist, seeding doubt, led to their acquittal on kidnapping charges, though they were convicted of extortion. The verdict left the Bronfman family feeling abandoned by justice, the accusations against Samuel leaving scars that would never heal. Years passed, and the Bronfman legacy grew even more tangled. Sarah and Claire Bronfman, heiresses to the Seagrams liquor empire, became entangled with alleged cult Nexum in the early 2000s. Sarah's introduction to Nexum came via a family friend in 2002 during a period of existential searching. She swiftly became enamored with Keith Ranier's so-called self-help group, plunging deep into its folds and persuading her sister Claire to join her. Their father, initially intrigued, grew wary upon discovering Claire's massive loans to Ranier, eventually branding Nexum as a cult. Sarah's role, while significant, was largely behind the scenes, providing financial support and participating in Nexum's inner circle. Her dedication persisted even as allegations of abuse emerged. In 2019, she severed her ties, relinquishing her stakes in Nexum properties in a complex financial arrangement, but her involvement left a lasting impression. Claire's involvement, however, ran deeper and darker. She sought personal redemption within Nexum, becoming one of its most fervent supporters and financiers. Her contributions, estimated at $150 million, funded legal battles against Nexum's detractors and even Ranier's private jet expenses, and this devotion led to her downfall. In 2019, Claire pled guilty to charges related to harboring illegal aliens for financial gain and fraudulent identification use. Despite her plea, Claire's loyalty to Ranier and Nexum remained unshaken. The court, however, saw through her facade. In September 2020, Claire was sentenced to 6 years and 9 months in prison, exceeding prosecutors' recommendations, and the judge condemned her use of wealth and status to intimidate and retaliate against Nexum's opponents. Yet, even behind bars, her steadfast support for Ranier continued to provoke controversy and fascination. The Bronfman name, once synonymous with opulence and philanthropy, now bore the stigma of scandal and crime, a stark transformation under the relentless scrutiny of public and media alike. And yet, even with all of the controversy, their next generations have continued on from success to success. We'll see in the next chapter. Stephen Bronfman, a luminary of Canadian commerce and heir to the storied Seagram empire, has become a central figure in the political landscape of Canada, particularly with the Liberal Party. And his influence was especially prominent from the early 2000s to the 2010s, a time marked by his deep political engagement. The pivotal moment in Bronfman's political story occurred in 2013, when Justin Trudeau, then a hopeful for the leadership of the Liberal Party, enlisted Bronfman's support. Bronfman utilized his expansive network and financial acumen to secure crucial funds for Trudeau's campaign, and his efforts were integral to Trudeau's victory and his ascent to the Prime Minister's office in 2015. With Trudeau in power, Bronfman was appointed chief fundraiser for the Liberal Party, charged with rejuvenating its financial structure. His role was explicitly non-voting, centered solely on fundraising efforts, a point emphasized by party officials to quell any speculation about his influence over policy. However, 2017 brought controversy for Bronfman through the Paradise Papers scandal. The documents revealed his and his associates' use of offshore havens, suggesting that millions were channeled through the Colbert Trust in the Cayman Islands by Bronfman's firm, Claridge. These revelations ignited discussions on potential tax avoidance, though Bronfman and his team maintained that their actions were legal and fully compliant with existing laws. Despite these challenges, Bronfman maintained significant sway within the Liberal Party, and his long-standing friendship with Trudeau and their mutual support cemented his status as a crucial player in the party's fundraising success. Their close relationship was evident in their public appearances, from personal milestones like Trudeau's wedding to prestigious events such as state dinners with foreign dignitaries. Meanwhile, Edgar Bronfman Jr., another scion of the Bronfman family, made unforgettable marks on the music industry during the 1990s. As head of Seagram, Edgar was not satisfied with overseeing the family's liquor business alone, and he soon envisioned transforming Seagram into a significant entertainment conglomerate, particularly within the music sector. This vision led to the landmark purchase in 1995 of an 80% stake in MCA Records from Matsushita for $5.7 billion, a sum far surpassing Sony's expenditure on CBS Records in the previous decade. This acquisition heralded Seagram's foray into the music industry, with Edgar quickly rebranding MCA Records as Universal Music Group, or UMG, which would come to dominate the global music scene. Under Edgar's leadership, UMG was reinvigorated by strategic acquisitions, including the monumental purchase of Polygram in 1998 for $10.4 billion. And despite the digital revolution and declining physical album sales, Edgar remained an optimistic proponent of streaming and subscription models, anticipating their potential to revolutionize music distribution and ensure industry growth. Under his stewardship, UMG flourished, navigating the competitive landscape of the music industry and adapting to the digital age, securing its position as a titan in the realm of global music. Similarly, Benjamin Bronfman, born in 1982, had musical inclinations that took a notable turn when he crossed paths with Kanye West. Collaborating with West, he co-produced tracks like Monster from the Grammy-winning album My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and contributed to New Slaves, the lead single on West's Yeezus, a work that garnered a Grammy nomination. But Bronfman's entrepreneurial zeal wasn't confined to music. In 2007, his environmental interests were on display when he co-founded Global Thermostat with Graciela Cicilniski, an economist. This venture focused on developing technology to capture carbon dioxide directly from the atmosphere. By 2010, they had realized their vision with a pilot plant at the Stanford Research Institute, marking a significant step in the fight against climate change. In 2018, Bronfman diversified his business interests by founding DGH, an investment firm targeting the burgeoning medical cannabis industry. He also took on a directorial role at Bedrocan International, a European company specializing in pharmaceutical-grade cannabis. These days, his investments span various sectors, from technology startups to real estate, collectively amassing a net worth of $100 million by 2024. Similarly, Hannah Bronfman, born in October of 1987, also in New York City, carved her own investment niche, leveraging the Bronfman family name. Armed with a degree from Bard College, Hannah invests early-stage ventures intersecting wellness, beauty, and technology, such as Kindbody, topicals, and poppy seed health. Beyond her entrepreneurial endeavors, much like other millennial and Gen Z Bronfmans, Hannah has made her mark as a DJ, captivating audiences at high-profile brand events for Bulgari, Dior, and Fendi. Thus, from their humble origins, tilling the soil as struggling farmers, the Bronfman family first leveraged hotels, then by using that excess cash to buy Seagram, they not only dominated the alcohol industry, but also ultimately expanded their empire into entertainment and finance, shaping a legacy of unparalleled global impact in the end. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Are you a native of North America and have felt the influence of the Bronfman family in your own life? And what is your opinion of their legacy? We love hearing the thoughts of our community, and we look forward to having a convo with you below. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury. And cheers, until next time.